So in the Hunger Games, the biggest punishments are either being made into an Avox or execution. I mean, outside of being reaped for the actual Hunger Games. There aren't necessarily specific crimes that determine like whether or not you're executed or made into an Avox, but I have some theories on it. First of all, let me explain what an Avox is, because they're not really covered in the movies. Everything I'm talking about here is canon to the books, okay? An Avox is essentially a slave. They're someone who's been deemed like a traitor, a rebel, they've committed some sort of crime against the capital, and as punishment, they're reduced to the lowest possible social class in Panem. Avoxes are not able to speak. They have their tongues surgically removed from their mouth. Horrifying. And it's also forbidden to like communicate with an Avox, like treat them as a friend, like you're only supposed to talk to them when you're giving a direct order. There's different roles Avoxes play. We see them mainly as like they're in the training center or on the train, like they're kind of like the housekeepers, the assistants, like they're doing kind of all the undesirable labor tasks. Private citizens likely also have them like in their homes, like as like a cook, a servant, anything like that. Also, we know a lot of Avoxes work underneath the Capitol. They work in the sewer systems like sanitation, plumbing, electrical, just anything that's like an undesirable job for the Capitol citizens. There aren't Avoxes working in the districts as far as we know. Like if you're in the district, you're kind of a slave yourself to this whole system. So the hub is in the Capitol. The Avoxes we know in the books were previously Capitol citizens. We don't know for sure about Darius, he could be from District 2, but the people in the districts can also be made into Avoxes. You can decide what's worse, being executed or being a voiceless slave. Also, once you're an Avox, like your life is on the line at any time. Like you can be executed at any time for whatever reason. We know 2 Avoxes, Darius and Lavinia, are just like tortured to death in front of Peeta and Mockingjay. Not good to be an Avox. Preston So says himself, like he does not take life for no reason. He tries not to be wasteful in terms of like he wants to get the most out of the people that he can. He wants servants. He needs people to do these undesirable jobs. So he's strategic in terms of who is executed. It seems like executions are more likely to punish someone else versus the person being executed. Like it's for blackmail. Katniss knows if she does something wrong, like the threat is that her sister and her mom will be executed. So it's using that threat as blackmail, then they're able to control someone else. Like we know for Finnick, like he's going along with like the prostitution in order to protect loved ones. We know Joanna kind of refused to do that, and she says like there's no one left I love. Like all the people in her life were executed because she wasn't like bending to the Capitol's will. It's interesting that the threat isn't that your family's going to be turned into an Avox, it's that they're just going to be completely gone. Maybe Snow and the Capitol's determined like that's the biggest motivation, that's the easiest way to control people to do what they want to do is by threatening death to their loved ones versus turning them into an Avox. That's what I think, at least. We also know it's possible to like pay for an Avox to have a more desirable role, like to work above ground. I think the fact that you can use money to help an Avox explains also why victors aren't blackmailed with the possibility of their family becoming Avoxes, because like victors get a bunch of money from winning the Hunger Games. Obviously the big symbolism of like them removing the tongues of an Avox, it's like your voice doesn't matter, your thoughts don't matter, your feelings don't matter, like we own you. It's kind of taking away someone's like personhood and just like total lack of control by just, you know, making them voiceless. And not having a tongue like affects the way you swallow, it affects the way you eat and drink, so, you know, really brutal. Seems like the big punishment go-to isn't necessarily execution because the Capitol wants to use the people of Panem to make their lives cushy and breezy and not have to deal with any undesirable jobs and just get the most labor out of like all these people that they're oppressing. Because once you execute someone, like you can't use that person anymore. So execution of someone is usually done to control and harm someone else who is going to stay alive. Avoxes are mostly erased from the movies, which is unfortunate. I feel like it says a lot about Panem and there's really important characters who are Avoxes. But yeah.